This is file 2 of 3 files of a speech, 2.5 hour speech about sexual cultures of societies. You must, if it is the first file that you have opened, you must start with the first one. In YouTube, it starts with number 4.1, then it's written file 1 of 1.5 hour speech about sexual culture. Thank you. I said that I call the new culture, the recent 100 culture that mainly come from US and Europe, and this culture I called it being cultureless. You know, may some people feel offended by when I call the culture being cultureless, but I give you an example. You know, my torturers, there are people that has tortured me since I was 4 years old until now, which I am about 50 years. In these, about 10 years ago, 15 years ago, they has made their own culture. They suddenly called Tuesday the day that unmarried girls get married, and the Thursday girl alone mother day to get married, or finding what you call it, a boyfriend or something like that. This culture, there was once in Denmark that not only my torturers, but many people find it very good culture, and they, even alone mother knew, or I don't know, many of them still may know, the Thursday their own day, and many girls may knew Tuesday their own day to find someone to get married with. Why suddenly, it is, this culture must be so attractive? If we will look at it from Danish side of view, Sunday, which is Danish people are mostly Protestant, Evangelium, or I don't know, Evangelium Protestant, and Sunday is their day. Why suddenly Tuesday and Thursday must be look so attractive to them that they want this new culture to have success? It is because Denmark suffer of being cultureless. And I saw in TV, I saw in the news and other things that it was not only here in Denmark, many others like to grow this culture in their country too. What it show, as I told you, if you have a well-working culture, you stand against these things, and you say, if you are Muslim, you say Friday is my religion day, and if there should be any marriage and something like that, it must be this, And Christians used to get married at Saturday or Sunday too. Why suddenly Tuesday and Thursday must get so attractive? It is why I tell you, when there is weakness, when there is cultureless, every new culture that have benefit for people's sexual culture, for people's sexual need, it look attractive. If there is some benefit in it, it is good and it is welcome. And it is the wrong, it is what that show you suffer of being cultureless. Now let's look at, recently I have wrote something about Danish way of life. Denmark is a little country, but still bands, unofficial bands, are those who, have power in this country, So when girls are young, it is boy bands of place of their live mainly decide over them. It is no longer parents who decide over them. It is bands, boy bands, and later in the school, it is schoolmate boy bands. And later when they come in university, it is they get belong to boy bands of university, and later they get in work, they get belong to their work. They work colleagues bands, And of course, here in between, they may go with many others, whenever they are in holiday, or whenever they are in, they go visiting their grandparents, and their grandparents' neighbors, bands, and their parents, their sister and brothers, neighbors, bands, and or their friends, neighbors, bands, and so on. But in US, neighbors have mainly, mainly they do not have so many power. I think US had this problem maybe, or US, because of their way that they living. I don't know, somehow in US these neighbors has not as much power as bands has not as much power as they have here in Denmark, for example. But when the school time begin, when the high school time begin, that start in US, the first life, your first life start, and it's finish when you finish the high school. In this life, many girls find a girlfriend, It is a life, it is a, that time that was Christianity's culture. That time that sexual culture of Christianity ruled. You had only one life. Now in US, you have at least 3 lives. Your first life, after childhood, your first life is your high school life. The second life that you have is your university life, which is the same, more or less, with the high school life. And the next life that you have, it starts when you start to work. And your final life start someplace in your work life. But before work life, your university life and your high school life, many girls get a boyfriend, and it is like they are wife of their boyfriend. And in university, the same. They are wife of their boyfriend there too. And at work, some start to be wife of their colleague, and some they become real wife of their colleagues, But until they become real wife of someone, they have 2-3 life that they are a sort of wife of their boyfriend, And of course, some boys see, okay, she won't be my real wife, so why not, while I can, I don't have sex and enjoy and fun with other girls. So some live on that way. Some already, when they get their high school love, they say, she is what I want, and I want to live with him or her rest of my life, And so they start they get their real wife. But mostly, there is a life with all sort of people, but because that life is not the final life, the one that they get is not their life partner. So there are many, everything is allowed, And so is the same in the university, and so is the same at some people at work, until she gets real married. However, that the real married won't work in many cases either, because it has not started from already since high school, It is the one that has got married now. It is not it is not a girl that does not know anything about any other, It is not a boy that does not know anything about any other girls or woman. So that won't be as strong as those old times, And of course, in our new society, there are thousands ways that can destroy this marriage, very easily, So it is our Danish and American life, still in countries like Iran, like many other Islamic countries, on those, or even maybe South Europe at Catholics, or I don't know, at Orthodox is the same. I think it's the same too. I don't know. But still they believe in having no sexual relation before marriage and getting married virgin. They still the new culture is not so attractive at them, still some of them go hungry home, They do not eat the food with their hands. They go hungry home. It takes time until they start to eat with their hands too. And when they start to eat with their hands, all other, all other things, all other problems that, for example, US have or Denmark have, or these will come there too. One of the problems that I know Denmark have and many other places has, it is alone mothers, People having married or unmarried make a child, then they do not live together, and it remain here with one or two child to raise, alone, and all these problems, and of course, it is free market, it is no real relation. Some people have success and can have, many girlfriends, change many girlfriends. Some people cannot get any girl or any boy to be with in their high school life, in their university life, or in their work life. There is every, so it is not quite justice. It is free market, It is not quite harmony, It is because it is not for real. So everyone can get as much as he can, And those who can't, those who were someone, if they study, get finished, and become someone, be able to make good money, and with their economic income, they can attract and they can give possibility for a family. Therefore, a woman get interested in them, and they can have a family. They lose all these lifetimes, And because of that, sometimes you see that a guy that see his life, that his first part of his life or second part of his life, his high school part of his life, his university part of his life, he see himself to be the loser, He see, for example, he not only, he or she, they are not only able to get girls, get boys, and or enjoy like successful people around there. They are not even successful maybe in a study either, So they are not even successful to, when you are not, when the society is unjust, because when you are not strong, as strong as others in enjoying the life, so you won't enjoy others enjoying their life, but you don't, So you won't like them either. If you want to be honest, if you go to the city, with your friend, every night, in 4 years, 5 years that high school time take or university take, you go every day with your friend to a school, and every day you see how fun he have and how don't fun you have. So you won't like him either. It is real human feelings, So suddenly you see many youth people, they get suicide. Many go to drugs and so on. Many, some get a gun and come and kill others. It is all these things happen to, because this new culture, it is not like religious culture that is were 1,000 years old, and the whole society tried to hold it strong. The new culture is a culture that many are losing it. Today I saw a film called Prom. There is they said clearly that some people are loser, in this culture, in this high school culture. And that prom thing is very important, as I see in these movies, for Americans. But what I am to say is that it is not a culture that where a lot of thinking behind that. I see in some movies that they show, these books, American books, that when you have a date with a girl, what you should do, what you should say, what you should not do, what you should not say. Why? Because there is need, because there is need. It is a new sexual culture, and nobody knows. Your parents did not know these things. You should find these books and study to get strength yourself in this sexual culture, in existing living sexual culture that you find yourself inside it. You must strengthen yourself to have success, because of that. And if you read these books, I don't know there are many words about getting married, having children, and so on. No, there are other things more important, or having how you can have a good job to make more money and bring more money into your family and plan your future and so on. No, it is how to attract the other sex, because that is the main thing in this first 2-3 life that we have, according to in American style, for example. One thing here I must clear that in whole this discussion, I am not to bring you any solution. The first thing to solve a problem is knowing the problem, is accepting existence of the problem. Then you can think about solutions. Here, all things that I say, all examples that I bring, are only mentioning the problem. All mention the problem. None of them must get abused as a solution, as a way that is better, that we should do things in this way. No, it is only to explain what is the main problem. Well, in continue, now we have said that the main thing in our life is sexual culture. Then we start about Danish and American lifestyle or culture, and being cultureless. And one more time, I said I called the West culture being cultureless, or now it is this being cultureless is around the world, has taken around the world, you know. You should not feel offended. Even all those books about how you should behave when you are dating someone, what you should say and what you should not say, what you should do and what you should not do, show that there is no real culture. It is a cultureless. It is something that some people are making a culture, you know. It is a culture become after some 100 years, you know. This is become culture after some 100 years when it was successful and society has gone, had their harmony, their justice, and majority were satisfied and majority wanted to keep that culture, you know. Now let's see what expected of a sexual culture. One of the things, of course, you know, it is a sexual culture must give possibility to all its members to search for their needs, to get what they have value for, you know. And it must have as few, what you call it, unsatisfied people as possible. You know, one of the weaknesses of religious cultures were their positions against homosexuals. You know, religious cultures, you know, both at Islam and Christianity and Jew, they were totally against homosexuality, you know. I am against homosexuality that is mental. It is because of how a boy or girl has raised, you know. There are two different homosexuality. One of them is genetic, you know. A genetic sexuality is genetic, you know. You cannot do anything about that, you know. It is in the way that you got born, you know. And another is that because of environment around you, because how you have got raised, because how you have got treated by others, how you have got treated by your society, you have changed to be homosexual. That homosexuality I am against, and I think society must fight to overcome it, you know. Not fight with homosexual, but fight to overcome it. Must use resources, must work on its culture, must work on how treating its member, must work on how raising its children to not become raised homosexual. But that genetic, it is something medicine, and those who are genetic homosexual, it is nothing to do with them, you know. They have got born in this way, and God has made them in this way, and so they must live their life, you know, as homosexual. But the another one, society must work to not happen. But this weakness, but in religious cultures, homosexuality was what that they totally were against, and it was their weakness. And there were some people that their right were overtaken by religions, And now you see, now because religions has got weak, they have as well got power to say what a bad time they had, and they want their rights, And so a sexual culture must not take in people's right, For example, if you, as I said, look in high school culture, in American movies, high school culture, you see in sexual culture, the cheerleaders and the football guys, they have success. Why? Because they have the football guys, they have physical power, their talent is very good, well accepted by the sexual culture. Their cheerleaders as well, they are in good shape, they are beautiful, in good shape, and they are as well very top gears, So these two groups, their talent is well accepted in the new high school sexual culture. But others have talent, being good looking or being beautiful was always one of the most attractive talent in sexual cultures. And it is something natural, But there are other talents, Not everybody is good looking, but people has other talents, If their talent be disvalued in in that sexual culture, they will raise little by little, generation by generation, they will raise against that sexual culture. It is something natural, as the homosexuals, as any other who has weakness, raise against the existing system, they will raise too. So a sexual culture must respect and value every talent that people can have, and value that, and according to that value they get beautiful girl or better husband or better boyfriend or whatever else, or husband or whatever else. It is one of the things that a sexual culture must when I told you a sexual culture is that hold in some 100 years, because that thing that has is 20 years old, that sexual culture which is not more than 20 years old, 30 years old, these culture had not passed enough time to those that their culture was against, did not allow, had disvalued their talent. They had no enough time to strengthen and destroy the culture, However, you see many of these new cultures hold only 10 years, 60s hippie culture hold only from 60 to 70. And so little by little, culture changed, And today we are far from 60s culture, So it is that a culture must value people's talent. For example, we have this nerd, nerd that American used to say to those people whom are very clever, very good in mathematics, in physics, in computer, or this or that. But they, by call them nerd, they get disvalued, and their talent does not get respected. This, not in a 5 year, not in a 10 year, not in a 20 year, that computer hold the whole computer is not more than 50 years old, But these nerds will in one or another time they stand against this culture, and they will be with to change this sexual culture, because they are the loser in it, and they know their talent. They can computer that we cannot ever be able to use a computer as they do, and get to hands on so many information that they get and use it in the way that they can use it, or this or that, So they have a sort of talent, but their talent is not valued. So, as I said, all these new cultures, they are sign of being cultureless. But there is need for a real culture that people get able to raise their children in a way that they have success in the new sexual culture. Right now, for example, once, culture was in a way that children should have been polite, So everybody in hundreds of years tried to learn to raise their children, generation after generation. Father and grandfather tried to, raise their children to be polite. But in today's world, sometimes there were times that, in rap music or something like that, being total opposite of being polite, were the most attractive, were the most successful, So now that you have got a child, when this child get 20 years old or 30 years old, how you want to raise him? Do you want to raise him to become a polite guy, or should you raise him to become an unpolite guy? You do not know in 20 years what will be that time's culture, If you raise him polite, and on that time, unpolite people be most attractive, your child lose, become a loser. If you raise your child unpolite, and that time people must be very polite, your child become loser, So you do not know exactly. And it is the rank, It is one of the weaknesses of being cultureless, one of the main weaknesses to be cultureless. You cannot help your child in any way, You must leave your child to those culture makers, Suddenly, a 15 years old, a 10 years old, for example, Justin Bieber, I like him. I don't know about his song, but he looked to be a good guy. But you are grandfather of child, and you are, I don't know, 50, 60 years old, and father of the child is 30, 40 years old. But none of you can raise your child better than Justin Bieber, because he know what society he is to make, and your child live in his society, He do not live in your society. He live in his society, and he must strengthen himself in his society. It is the right, It is that you have lived 60 years, you had 1,000 experiences, but none of them is useful for your child, But a 15 years old without any experience, Justin Bieber, he is the one that should raise your child for you, And how you know what he raised is good. Look at the society now. Look at the people. Who has raised these people? Are they raised by the Rolling Stones? Are they raised by Elvis? Are they raised by 60s singers and so on? It is the right, Back to the subject, the first. So we said a sexual culture must first search for sexual needs of its member. Second, it must be a way that learn you the whole your life, how not only how you live only your high school time, but how you live rest of your life, how you raise your child, that they have success too, and make from your childhood to your death. That is a sexual culture that keep benefit of you from childhood to death, and benefit of your child and your grandchild from childhood to death. That is you can call a culture, or a sexual culture, what you call it. So we said that a sexual culture must be just, and everybody's talent must be respected and valued as it has value. No talent must overvalued, no talent must undervalued. And it was the main thing. Then it is not. These things are not the only thing. After that, it come. It is always one of the things that religious cultures has gone wrong in, had problem with, is not keeping the balance, where religious cultures, religious sexual cultures or cultures has gone extremes, they become over religious or become less religious, it go wrong. A little putting your foot out of the exact balance of the sexual culture, that make trouble. It become where that you lose one of the feet of your table and your table will fall down, So then it become, thinking about the extremes, thinking about what if in this case they go extreme, this direction, what in this way they does not do as strongly as expected, They were not hard enough as they expected in this case. So all these must get under consideration and made defense against it. So it is the next thing. Then you get the same trouble that religious cultures had, and fighting for the culture and keep it hold it externally, regardless how the new ideas, how the new cultures, or how the new opinions, how the new ways look attractive, look successful, look better, You will have the same problem as the religious people, and you should become fanatic, as many are already fanatic, as I see, here in Europe or in US. Many try to be fanatic in their newfound culture or lifestyle, and they try to fight for it, and say, no, it is better, and the old religious system was totally wrong, and, these new things that you say that in this way we are, too hard. No, you are wrong. We must be hard in this case. And, this is why people suddenly become fanatic, why people were fanatic in their religion, because they want to protect their benefit, When you learn a system, when you learn, for example, when you learn computer, when you learn computer, you must fight for using computer. If people stop using computer, you lose your life. You have used 10 years in studying computer, you become perfect in computer, and you can make many money with computer. But if the people put their computer away, you lose all your investment, all your effort that you have used in a study computer, all your things that you used your life to learn, all get waste, And because of that, you fight for computer getting used, Society build itself on use of computer. Sexual culture is the same, When it is sexual culture is consciously is what that you consciously or unconsciously you invest on it, So you try to strengthen it, And you fight with its enemy, Whatever be against it, you fight with it. So it is another thing that it is a natural that will be a part of your sexual culture too, So you must think about that too. How extreme it must go, how not extreme it must go, And if it go that extreme, protecting this culture, what will happen, you know? So in other words, we get back to the same old problem. Either having a fast, considered sexual culture, or just let it be, you know, let it live without culture, you know. Each of these two classes of thinking, having a proper sexual culture and not having culture, each of them has their own benefit, their own good things, their own benefit for some people, and lose for some people, you know. So it is a discussion that I must talk about, that what is benefit and what is lose, you know, of Thank you for listening to file 2 of a speech about society's sexual culture. Please continue this speech with file 3 of this speech.